To make this lovely prawn vindaloo, we're going to need about 20 to 25 tiger prawns cleaned and washed and kept ready. Okay, 1 tablespoonful of ginger garlic paste. Let's see. I'm going to add 1 teaspoonful of salt to taste. Okay, just your 1/4 teaspoonful of cumin powder, 1/4 teaspoonful of red pepper powder, 1/4 teaspoonful of turmeric powder, and 1/2 teaspoonful of red chili powder. Okay, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoonful of Kashmiri chili powder just to get a nice red color. Lovely. Now once this is done, you need to add your vindaloo paste. Now how do we make the vindaloo paste? To make the vindaloo paste, you're going to need 10 to 12 red chilies. Those are Kashmiri red chilies, and they look like this. So 10 to 12 of these Kashmiri red chilies. You need 1 teaspoonful of cumin seeds, 1 teaspoonful of mustard seeds, 1 teaspoonful of Shahi Garam Masala powder, 1 teaspoonful of cooking wine or fenny, or if you don't have this, you could just use coconut milk. Okay, or a small piece of ginger, 3 to 4 peels of garlic, 3 to 4 peels of cloves. Okay, and grind all that together and create a nice mixture. Okay, remember, the taste for vindaloo vary from meat to fish to lamb to chicken, so do not use the same in all. This vindaloo recommendation is for fish, is for prawn. Once this is mixed, I'm now going to add my vindaloo paste. So in the interest of time, I have kept that ready. So I'm adding nice 2 teaspoonfuls of vindaloo paste. Lovely. Mix all this real good. Okay. So I'm now going to let this marinate overnight. So that means it needs marination for at least 8 to 10 hours minimum. Okay, until the marination really settles onto the prawn and it doesn't get rid of it easily. And I'm going to cover this when I put it in my refrigerator. The reason being, I don't want them to become very hard when they are in cold, so I'm just going to cover it. So if you have an airtight lid, you could use that, or you could just use a cling film like this. Just kind of cover this up real good. That's it, and keep it in the refrigerator overnight, and tomorrow I'm going to continue this recipe. So there you go, I've opened up the lid, and this has been marinating for about 10 hours now because I kept it overnight. So they look lovely, they've got nicely coated with the vindaloo paste, the masalas that we added, the spices. So I'm now just going to roll this in some wheat flour. So you gotta take some wheat flour in a plate and just take one of the prawn, tap it onto the flour, just roll it once so that it's got nicely coated, and drop it into an oil which is nice and hot. So this is about 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil, okay, which is nice and hot, and I'm just going to drop my prawn. So the important thing is that you can probably coat the prawns and put them at the side, and then drop all of them at the same time so that it's easier and you could turn them around at the same time. I'm just going to go a little fast. Nice and huge tiger prawns, and this dish goes the best if they are nice and huge. So try and get big prawns if you want to cook the vindaloo with your prawns. Very important, because smaller ones will really get lost in the dish when you make the sauce. So it's crucial to get the big ones. And they taste lovely as well. Okay, since the oil is absolutely hot, I'm going to turn these quick. Okay, because we're just going to lightly fry these. We don't intend cooking them 100%. We just need to be 90% ready. And that should be good enough for us for this dish. So turn them over, place them at the side. Okay, so I can add the remaining ones to fry. This is not going to come out. Lovely. So now you know why I said you should add all of these at the same time. So it's easier to turn them because they all will be cooked equally. They look like nice red huge prawns. Love it. The best part is, since your oil is absolutely hot, they get cooked really fast. Okay, so my first set would have been done by now. So I'm going to get them out in a plate. Okay, just going to get them out in a separate dish. Okay, now one of the things that you could do is place this in a kitchen towel and drain off the oil and then probably add them to the sauce. But traditionally it's not supposed to drain off the oil, so it's really a matter of choice. You gotta keep it that way because they say that the sauces and the prawns that soak easily into the sauces when they are just about fried and a little bit of oil is still on them. Could be a myth, but yeah, that's the way it's really made in the restaurants as well, which is why the Vindaloos do have a little amount of extra oil, I would say. But that also adds to the taste, so try and stick to the recipe instead of getting too bothered about the oil, at least when it comes to this recipe. Just gonna finish off the rest. Okay, just have, I guess, 3 left. About it. Okay, so I'm just gonna let these fry and toss around the others and come back to you. Okay, so all my prawns have been fried and kept aside now. Now in the same pan I have some oil left. So in this same oil I'm going to cook my sauce. Okay, So to make the sauce, I'm going to need 7 to 8 curry leaves. Okay, 4 cloves, 2 bay leaves, okay, and 4 green chilies slit and added. Lovely. Now that these have begun sizzling, I'm going to add 1 onion finely chopped. Just give this a nice mix. Now we cook the onion until it's nice and light brown. The important thing of making the dish in the same pan where you fried your prawns adds to the flavor, and the oil doesn't go waste. You don't need to add any extra oil. You're cooking in the same. So you see the flavor and the colors already got added to your salt. To expedite the process of the onion losing its moisture, I'm going to add half a teaspoonful of salt, okay. Just toss this around. Lovely. Now we wait for about 3 to 4 minutes until the onion loses its moisture and becomes nice and light brown. Lovely. So as you see, my onions have slightly browned by now. Okay, and they've released their moisture. This is the amount of brownness that the onion should be caramelized to. To this I'm going to add 1 tomato, finely chopped. Okay. You just give this a mix and let the tomatoes ooze out all the moisture and become nice and tender. That's extremely important for this dish. They must become slightly tender and release all the extra moisture. So this may take another 7 to 8 minutes for the tomatoes to become nice and tender. Okay, while this is cooking, I'm going to add 1 tablespoonful of ginger garlic paste, one teaspoonful of turmeric powder, half a teaspoonful of cumin powder, quarter teaspoon of red pepper powder, and half a teaspoon of red chili powder. Okay. Mix all this and allow the tomatoes to get nice and tender. So this dish must be made on a slow to medium flame and not high, because it takes time and we want it to be made slow because we want that kind of flavoring and consistency. Just keep dabbing them down so that your tomatoes are there, but they're not visible. They're nice and coarse, so they end up releasing all the moisture and also add to the necessary sourness that we need. Now that these are nicely mashed, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoonful of garam masala powder, and 1/2 teaspoonful of curry powder. Okay. Mixing all this. Now the marination bowl in which you'd marinated your prawns, I just added 1 cup of water to this. Okay, so I'm going to pour this and use it for my sauce. Importantly, because I don't lose out on the flavor of the spices and the paste that when we marinated. Okay, mix this really good. Okay, and let this come to a nice boil so that we know that the spices have got cooked well. Keep dabbing them down so that the consistency is nice and thick. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so I've added a pinch of food color to this if you like. You can skip that if you don't. It's not really necessary, but that's the way we make it in our restaurants. Okay. Now while this is cooking, it's important to taste your vindaloo, because the combination of the spices with tomatoes always varies. Okay. I'm just going to add 1/4 teaspoonful of salt. Really, the salt is as per what you like and depending on your seasoning. But don't add too much, because when you add your prawns, they will release some amount of salt from the marination as well. So be very careful. Now, one of the things that people do as a big mistake in prawn vindaloo is they add tomato puree. Now, do not add tomato puree, because you don't want to get a mashed tomato. It has to be coarse. That's the base to your gravy, to your sauce. So be careful. Okay. So now that this has come to a nice boil, I'm going to sprinkle some finely chopped fresh coriander. Okay, mix this real good. Wow, I can already smell the lovely flavor. Okay, and to this, here are your fried prawns, which I'm going to top up. So one thing that you need to remember is when you're adding the prawn, don't forget to when you're adding the prawn, ensure you add the remaining marination as well, if any. Okay, and you can top these prawns up and you can add some into the dish. So go half and half. Add half your prawns into the dish, and half of these you could serve while you top up onto the dinner table as a topping, I would say. That goes beautifully as well, because then it's a lovely combination. But again, it's really a matter of choice. But it tastes good that way and goes really well. So I would suggest that you do that. Okay, gently pour the sauce over the fried prawns so that they get nicely soaked into them. Lovely. Turn off the flame and let this cook for 1–1.5 minutes. Let it mingle together with the sauce. And these are my remaining prawns, which I'm going to top up before I serve. Lovely. So enjoy this with some plain steamed rice and tadka dal, or enjoy it with some Indian flatbread, roti, naan, or just pav bread. Absolutely wonderful. So enjoy.